A villain so hideous that his mere laugh could reduce his victims to giggling idiots. Hello friends, and welcome back to another video here on my channel. I'm really excited about today's video. Today we're talking about another episode of Are You Afraid of the Dark? More specifically, we are talking about the episode called The Tale of the Ghastly Grinner. Man, oh man, is this episode a whirlwind. Let's start with I love this episode. It is terrifying. It hits every mark for a middle grade horror show, but not only that, it hits every mark for a adult horror short story. Let's dive in. This episode's main character is Ethan. Ethan draws comics and he keeps getting rejected from publishers, but he discovers a mysterious piece of mail on his floor that is inviting him to a local comic book shop for their grand opening, and that is really where the story takes off.
Come to the grand opening of Comic Books, Inc.
When he gets to the grand opening of the comic book shop, no one's there. It's like really slow and it's kind of odd and eerie, but he meets the shop owner, which is this lady, and she says one line in this whole episode over and over again, and it's the most annoying thing. She tells him about a comic writer called Sylvester Uncas, and just check out the way she says this.
Sylvester Uncas.
Sylvester Uncas. Sylvester Uncas. Sylvester Uncas. Honestly, she's like the worst part of this episode. She gets on my nerves endlessly, but it's not enough to make the episode horrible. The episode is still great, but after she tells him about Sylvester Uncas, she shows him a comic book that Sylvester Uncas worked on called The Ghastly Grinner, and she gives him the one and only copy of The Ghastly Grinner for free.
Issue 1. Volume 1.
The next day at school, he is reading The Ghastly Grinner in science class, and obviously his teacher did not like it very much, and he was a douchebag, and he threw The Ghastly Grinner into a tank of water. I would have been so fucking pissed.
You can't! It's one of a kind!
Correction! It's none of a kind.
Later that day at home, he is looking at now his ruined comic book that is literally one of a kind. There's no other one out there. It's the only Ghastly Grinner comic book that his asshole teacher just destroyed, and he gets the idea of putting it in the microwave to try to dry it out. And this is where disaster strikes. By putting this comic in the microwave, it does something to the comic that makes the Ghastly Grinner come into the real world. And the Ghastly Grinner is a terrifying, terrifying thing. I think it's scarier than Zebo in The Tale of Laughing in the Dark. He is just disgusting, and he ends up getting Ethan's parents, and I don't know what he does to them, but he makes them grin and laugh like idiots and giggle, and it's disgusting. Check it out.
Dad, something's happened to Mom!
Heard any good jokes lately, Ethan?
Understandably, Ethan runs out of the house and he is terrified, and when he runs outside and hides behind a bush, he meets Hooper, a girl from his science class, who is there to help, and then somehow Hooper's parents are also walking up to Ethan's house. Maybe they heard all the commotion, I'm not sure, and it's alluded to that the Ghastly Grinner gets them as well. But then they try to figure out a plan to stop all this from happening, and they say, we're going to go back to the comic book shop, and they hop on a bus to go back to the comic book shop, and this scene is so cool. They are flipping through the comic that he pulled out of the microwave. It just has a hole in it now, and the comic is actually now writing itself, and it's showing Ethan and his parents that have been turned into the Ghastly Grinner's victims, and then Hooper's parents who turned into the Ghastly Grinner's victims, and then it shows them sitting on the bus. And this next part gave me chills as an adult. It is one of the coolest things I've ever seen in a kids horror show. It is phenomenal. You just need to take a look and see it for yourself. Roll the clip.
Ethan!
They make it out of the bus, they escape, and they get to the comic book shop, and the annoying comic book shop owner is there, and she tells the kids that Sylvester Uncas is not only the writer of The Ghastly Grinner, but it was her father. And that was not a really big twist. I kind of saw it earlier in the episode that probably this comic book shop owner was related to the author of The Ghastly Grinner. But what happens next is really, really cool. The Ghastly Grinner shows up, and he actually materializes for the first time. You actually get to see him in human form, just not like a drawing on a piece of paper. And he is horrifying, and he ends up getting the comic book shop owner, and yeah, he picks her up by the throat. It's just really, really cool.
What's the matter, kids? Can't think of
Next, the kids go back to the school and go to the science classroom where they have this huge like microwave machine that can shoot like rays of like microwaves at things. They're going to use it to try to destroy the Ghastly Grinner. The science teacher, that's a douchebag, shows up, and he is like kind of yelling at them, and then the Ghastly Grinner shows up, and it's alluded to that he offs him. Like, you never see this character again in the episode. If anyone deserved it, it was that it was the teacher. The teacher was an asshole. After that fails, they go back to the comic book shop, and the only other thing they can think of is having Ethan finish the Ghastly Grinner comic book that Sylvester Uncas started years ago, and he ends up writing himself into the comic as a superhero. It's a pretty cool scene, and the Ghastly Grinner shows up, and they both get warped into the comic book. It ends up that he's still not strong enough. Ethan cannot destroy the Ghastly Grinner, so Hooper grabs this huge eraser and erases his face on one of the drawings, the Ghastly Grinner's face, and that ends up saving everyone. After that, it's all real happy stuff. Like, the comic book shop owner comes back. I guess she was taken to the comic book. She wasn't turned into like a giggling idiot like the other people. She was actually taken into the comic book. Her dad, Sylvester Uncas, who was defeated by the Ghastly Grinner that he brought to life himself, was taken to the comic, and he comes back. It's a real happy ending. Ethan becomes a famous comic book artist and drawer and writer, and his parents that weren't really supportive in the beginning are supporting him now, and it's all happy endings, and I really, really, really like the ending. I just thought this was a great, scary, phenomenal episode. If you guys have not seen the tale of the Ghastly Grinner, I really do suggest that you go and watch it. It's on Paramount Plus. There's some episodes of it actually on YouTube, and I don't know how that's allowed, but it is. And go watch it like right when you're done with this video. It is definitely worth the watch. It's only about 22 minutes long, and it is just great. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I really enjoyed making this video. We have some new subscribers here on the channel. My last video did much better than any of the other videos I've ever posted on this channel, and I think I've gained about 6 subscribers from that video, and welcome to the family. I'm so happy you're here. We have a lot of fun over here on the Spooky Time with Jay channel. Thank you so much for subscribing. Keep your eyes out for new videos. God bless you, and I'll catch you in the next one.